And what's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new week. And for a lot of you, it's the biggest week of the year. It is the countdown is over. It is fall sports season once again in the state of Ohio. It is upon us. Week one is here, and we're going to talk about it right here on the Ysn Power Hour, powered by our friends at Toyota of Warren. My name is DJ Yoakley, and as always, this is the 60-minute love letter to local sports here in Northeast Ohio. So much to talk about. We're going to try to stretch it out throughout the week, have some special guests on throughout the week. But right now, this 60 minutes, well, it's just going to be personal. It's just going to be you and I, and we're going to talk about expectations for this year's teams, specifically in football. A lot of to-do last night, looking around, as he always does. Dana Ballish, our good friend over at Channel 21 WFMJ, putting out his predictions. And one thing that immediately struck me when someone puts out predictions, they're not cemented in, right? They're more opinions and I don't even want to say biased, enthusiasm, but that's what it is. I looked at Dana's previews as I look at him every single time because I think he does a really good job with that. I think he does a really good job in the team over at Channel 21 with their football previews. And he makes an educated decision. I just dropped my pen. That's not good. He makes an educated decision on what he thinks each team will do for the entire year. And the cool thing that I like is Dana sticks to him no matter what. He sticks to him no matter what, whether he's right or wrong, and he's going to be both, right? He sticks with it. And, one of the cool things about being in this business is you learn a lot about people. And the last, 4 years that we've done this, Richie filled in for me last year because I have prior obligations, but every year WFMJ Dana specifically does this football roundtable. And I've been fortunate enough to be on the football roundtable or someone from YSN for the last 5-6 years-ish. And every year he busts my chops a little bit because there is a little South Range bias. I don't know if you know that or not, being the voice of the Raiders. You tend to side a little bit one side or the other. And he busted my chops. And last year I remember telling him, I didn't get the chance to say it on air, but I thought Raiders have a good shot to win the state championship. And he dismissed me, right? That was my prediction, that the Raiders would at least get to the regional finals. Now, I pushed the envelope. I said they would win the state championship, and I would do it again because I would be right. But there's also the other side where I was wrong on, and you guys watch these prediction shows, and a lot of these prediction shows, especially the one here, yours truly, I just root for the underdog in a lot of those situations. And it's a goof, right? It's a spoof. It's my thing. I like doing it because if one of those underdogs hits, it's a good thing, right? I always root for the underdog. But there's a lot of that in there was a lot of chippiness last night that went on. And what I can appreciate is the people that stuck up for Dana and the opportunity. He's been doing this 35 years or something along those lines. 35 years that he's been making these predictions. And everybody's always got something to say about him, but nobody ever puts out their predictions, right? Or they talk about how much they know, and yet they don't even have the education to back it up. They don't have, they're just keyboard warriors, right? Just keyboard warriors. Nobody has put in the time that Dana has that can sit there and that would, number one, that would push the envelope and try to pick on somebody for doing their job. He's entertaining you. He's entertaining. This is what he likes to do. And guess what? It gets chatter. It's on the show. It's getting talked about. He's doing his job. The engagement, every time you put that keyboard badassery into existence, he's getting engagement and he's doing his job. It's like the WWE. You either boo a wrestler or you cheer a wrestler, but either way, they're getting that engagement out of you. They're getting that reaction out of you. And while some predictions, and people come on our show and they predict every Friday who's going to win, who's going to lose, most likely just who's going to win. Typically, we don't like to talk about the other side. We just promote who we think is going to be the winners. There's other people that go the other route. There's people that want to still engage, and I'm using engage a lot today, so I apologize. They want to push towards negative and cut down people and cut down teams and cut down coaches and communities. That's not what we're about. So if you're sitting here wondering and asking yourself, well, what are we doing here? Well, if you're waiting for me to cut down a kid or a coach or a community, you're on the wrong channel. I'm sorry. You can go down the dial for that because you're not going to find it here. You can find that lots of other places, but you're not going to find that here. We've taken a stance against that. We went down a path, and I'll be the first to tell you, about 2 years ago, that we tried to be a little bit more like Barstool, which I still appreciate for its own, but that's not who we are. And we will continue to push and put positivity on this platform, and we will continue to shine a light on it. Now, when predictions happen, they happen, and sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong, and that's just part of being predicting things. But it's for entertainment value and entertainment purposes only, purely. So I don't care if you come at me. And I'm sure Dana and I haven't spoken to him yet about it. We'll be on a show tomorrow for this football preview. I'm sure he could care less. But the fact that some people go out of their way to chop down others, to make themselves feel like they're a little bit taller or that they're a little bit more important, good on you. Good on you. Because at the end of the day, it's that kind of mentality that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He's going to do what he does because he does it well. We're going to do what we do because I think we do it pretty well. And you're going to sit there and, type away from your cubicle or whatever you're in and tell us how terrible of sportscasters we are and how easy it is to do our jobs. And you're not doing them. And there's probably a reason for that. So put that where you might. Let's put it that way, right? Now, I hate to start out on such an aggressive and abrasive beginning because there is a lot to talk about. There is a ton to talk about because, ladies and gentlemen, the next 24 hours, it is going to be unlike anything you've ever been a part of. Because in literally 23 hours and change from now, your sports network will change forever. Forever. Taking that next step into the advancement of local sports. We're excited for it. We're excited. Can't pop the balloon on what's going to happen. But all you got to do is go to ysnlive.com tomorrow, approximately this time when this show comes on, and it might feel a little different for one reason or another. Might feel a little different. And we might be taking steps towards making this the greatest sports website in the history of the Mahoning Valley. Just saying. Just saying. And you might get a little sneak preview of that tomorrow. Big changes coming. Today, we're going to talk about those expectations of these football teams because I think there's a lot when we talk about predictions, which we just did. The expectations, I think, are a little bit uneven this year. And here's why. You might be looking at yourself and asking, why? How is this year any different than the years prior? Well, I thought about that myself. And we try to always take that one little storyline and how is this year going to be different? Well, I can tell you right off the bat, number one, you have 2 state championships being defended in 2, technically 1, different community, right? When you're looking at Canfield and South Range, they have garnered all the headlines for all the right reasons over the last 6 months or so because, I guess 8 months, because they won the state championships respectively, Division III, Division V. Okay, so right off the jump, it's been at least a long time, if not forever, that we've represented state championships in two different divisions. And never before do I think that we've done it in the same sport, in the same community. So, right off the jump, how are we going to defend that? So, you look at this and you say, okay, well, I'm sure that there's giant classes coming back. And I believe Canfield has a nice senior group coming in. I think it's around the 20 number. I'll be able to talk to Coach Pav on Wednesday, confirm all of that. So they have a little bit of the numbers game working for them, whereas South Range doesn't. They lost 20 seniors last year, and I think they're bringing 10, 11 back from the junior to the senior status this year. So already you sit there and you wonder, okay, South Range, who is perennial powerhouses, especially coming out of that unbelievable conference that is the Northeast 8, what does it look like going into this year? You've got a quarterback that's had limited snaps and is an underclassman. You've got a line that is young, and even though they do have size, a lot of those guys have very rarely been in this thick of the battle before, when it wasn't them up by 20, 30, 40 points. So what does that look like? To me, when I look at all of this across the board, every single aspect, every single parameter on this year, it comes down to experience. It comes down to experience. And in much like in life, you either have experience or you're about to get experience, right? And I think the teams that are going to be successful this year are the teams that are going to have a lot of that experience. I do see Canfield being very good again. I do see South Range being contenders for another NE8 title. But this year, I feel like there's going to be a lot more contention for that title in the NE8. So you lose Jefferson. Jefferson heads to the CVC. It's well documented. Last year was the last year for Jefferson in the NE8. Now you've got 7 teams in the NE8, right? So the battle becomes real. And South Range, I think they've been battle tested over the last 5-6 years. 5 years, I think, in the NE8. I think this is the 5th year, 6th year. And South Range has, I believe, won it every single year. I believe, with only one loss. If I'm remembering right, and I could be off, I only think they have one loss in the entire NE8, and that was to Niles in the first year of the inaugural season of the NE8. So you look at Poland as well. Poland, I think, and I don't want Poland people yelling at me because they can be mean. But you look at that and you go, okay, right off the jump, I think Struthers is one of the favorites for the NE8. I think Poland, one of the favorites for the NE8. South Range has to be mentioned. They have to be in that conversation because they have the champion's advantage. Until they are dethroned, they are in that conversation right away. Here's a team that I think is going to sneak up on some people. I'm going to name the whole NE8, right? But the two teams that I think people are going to be surprised that they're going to be in this conversation. Girard, which I feel like they're always around. They're always hanging around. Coach Pearson always has his guys ready to battle. But Niles, ladies and gentlemen, Niles, they've got leadership in skilled positions that I think is going to take them a long way this year. And I think last year, sneaking up on people was the goal. This year, it's going to be, you got to stop our guys. You got to stop these playmakers. Gardner in the backfield could be one of the best running backs in the entire area. I know you're talking, and all the running backs are going through your mind. Don't be surprised when you see his name atop the rankings, barring injury, barring illness, anything like that. I think this young man could be something very, very special. He's been talked about for a few years now about being an incredible talent. And I think he's going to certainly make his mark this year. So don't be surprised when the Niles Red Dragons are in a lot of your conversations of where did they come from. Girard's in that same boat. Girard is always going to be in that conversation. They are a football town. They are, volleyball as well now. Anthony Hartwig will tell you. But football it's to me, it's like Ohio State and football. Girard and football, same kind of parallels. Same kind of parallels. So you look at that. Don't be surprised when a Lakeview comes out. There's a lot of changes happening at Lakeview. Don't be surprised if they win a game or two that they're not supposed to. Don't be surprised. They're making them tough out there in Cortland nowadays. So the NE8, again, I think more so than ever, and this isn't a knock on South Range, this isn't a knock on the NE8, I think more contentious than ever is that conference, NE8. This is kind of what the NE8 was built to be. Now, would have been nice to have that 8th team. And there's a lot of teams that I can see making that fit. But the conversations that I've been in, the conversations that, the rumor mill, all of that, when you look at that 8th team, it has to be the right fit. Personally, I think they should stay away and steer away from D7 football teams because there's not a whole lot for them when it comes down to playoff points. And that's what it's all about. Now it's all about making the playoffs when you have a so-so year as opposed to just winning the conference. Now, that's a nice conference championship to win. Don't get me wrong. However, the goal is to have a seat at the table in week 11. I really like the conference this year. I've really liked it for the last few years. It's been very, very, very good. And obviously South Range getting the better of teams throughout. I think this is going to be the closest year in the NE8. Now, I could be completely off. And again, predictions are sure to go wrong. But I think the NE8 is going to be the conference most fun to watch on a weekly basis beginning in week 4. Because you also throw in somewhere in there between weeks 4 and week 10, you get another non-conference game. What does that do? Do you treat that as a week off? Do you treat that as a week that you can rest some guys? Or do you go full tilt on this? Because there's a couple of different thought patterns that you can follow. Because if you're in the heat of the battle and you're in the race for maybe the conference title, maybe week 11, and you have a non-conference matchup in week 7 or 8 or 9 or even 10, what do? That's why I think it's going to be fun. A lot of fun to follow the NE8 this year. Again, you can tell me. I think we all know this guy. Go Raiders. Coach Yeagley chiming in. I'm sure we'll get a lot of that this year. He might have a couple of minutes on his hands nowadays, but we're excited, of course, for Coach Yeagley and to have him continue watch the show. I think a lot more than he'll ever admit, but don't tell Kelly. But okay, so the NE8, yes, I think that is going to be the conference to watch. If you're looking for pure, just absolute beat 'em up football this year, you're going to want to watch those games right here on YSN. And guys, I didn't even get to mention Hubbard. In some of the conversations I've had with Jamie, and again, you want to talk about the voice of the Eagles. Jamie is excited to be covering the Eagles this year. And I think he's going to be pleasantly surprised because Hubbard could be another one of those sneak up on you, win 6 games, or 5 games in the conference and walk away with it. They could. They very much could. They've got some athletes over there. And we all know that when you're playing the Hubbard Eagles, you're getting a hard-nosed football team. Hard-nosed any team, not just football. Hard-nosed any team because they are competitors. They are grinders. They are gritty over in the city of Hubbard. So be careful what you wish for. Again, NE8 is going to be fun to watch. So thinking about the MVAC, this one to me looks a lot like it did a few years ago. My good buddy Sean Guerrero, well, he's got another heck of a football team. Colton Rourke, going to be one of the elite, I think, and I've been calling this for 2 years now. I think he is going to be the elite or one of the elite quarterbacks in this area. A young man who is a multi-sport athlete, young man that is big, sizable. Like this is a Big Ben Roethlisberger-esque type player. Does not shy away from contact, can run the ball, can sling it with the best of them. Probably has more under the radar potential than nearly anybody that we've seen come through, at least since YSN's been around in 7 years. This is a young man who plays a hell of a baseball game. Corner infielder, again, size. And this guy has an opportunity in D7 to lead his team. And they could be good. And in D7, with Springfield being a D7 team, I think there's a potential path. The same way we talked about for South Range last year. Yes, I know they're rivals. The same way we talked about them last year. There's a path for Springfield to run through the regular season. They get into conference play, and I think they're going to dominate. I really think Springfield has another breakout year. And then you get, let's say they go 7-3, 8-2, 9-1, 10-0, somewhere in that range. I'm giving you ranges. I don't want anybody yelling at me. You get a home game, couple of home games, whatever it may be. And then you start going. When that temperature, the mercury starts dropping, that's when Sean Guerrero seems to be at his best. He seems to be at his best because in Springfield, you have a coach that is absolutely just rugged-minded. He has his guys ready to play always, ready to run through the wall, ready to break down doors, and ready to just pound down the door of the end zone. They can do it with finesse. They can do it with agility. They can do it with the X's and O's, and they can do it with pure willpower. Springfield, ladies and gentlemen, is a team that you are going to want to watch this year. And it doesn't start out real comfortable either. There's no cushy games on the schedule to start out for Springfield. You welcome into your brand new jungle, into your brand new facility with the turf, the beauty of it, the giant tiger head in the middle, Springfield on one side, Tigers in the other end zone. You bring in the state champs. You bring in South Range. You want to know how you set the tone? If you're Springfield on a season to remember, you bring in the state champs and you deliver a message to the world. Knock, knock, who's there? Kick down the door, that's who. That would be a message. Had a chance to see West Branch against South Range. Very, very short and very small sample size. I got to see those two programs battling it out. But what I can tell you is, even though Drew DeShields moves on to Kent State University, and we all know how much we thought of Drew DeShields, what I can tell you is that this young man, Alizos, coming up, I think that's how you pronounce his name. I apologize if I butchered it. We'll get it right. Don't worry, because you're going to make us get it right. This young dude can play. He has size. He has ability. And I think he is going to throw his name into the ring for one of the best quarterbacks in the area. There's a group that I have that I'm keeping an eye on. There's some of them that we're going to talk about early in the season. There's some of them that weeks 3, weeks 4, I'm going to say, that's one of my guys. That's one of the dudes that I've had an eye on since the offseason. I'm excited to see West Branch play. I really am. I think that there is a lot of potential there. I think there's a lot of people that are pushing them to the side because of how they were identified last year and years prior. Was this is Drew DeShields' team. And I think there's a lot of guys out there this year in the green helmets, by the way, looking sweet, looking sharp. There's a lot of guys out there that want to say, hey, we appreciate Drew. We love Drew. But this is time for us to write our own legacy. This is time for us. Sleep on us. We're happy that you're going to look the other direction because we're going to plant one on you. Look out for West Branch. Look out for West Branch because they are going to be good. I really do believe that. I really do believe that. I think that's going to be, which weirdly enough, it's going to be a team that shocks people. Just because I think most people are writing them off because of what West Branch lost. But here's the other thing. West Branch has a tough schedule. The EBC is good. The EBC is very, very good. Alliance has a really good team this year. Really good quarterback. Salem's going to have some. I don't want to say they're not going to be there. They're going to be in contention, but they're going to have some growing pains. When you have a guy like Jackson Johnson that runs the offense for as long as he did and as well as he did, you're going to have some growing pains to where you're going to have to figure out who you have. And I received some news today that's not good. Not good if you're a Quaker fan with a potential injury. So just one of those things. Just one of those things you got to work through and understand. So, again, crazy to think that week 1 is here. Week 1 is upon us. And we're talking about football that in 3 days, we're talking on Thursday night, we're kicking things off. We're going to take a break. We come back. We're going to give you a full lineup of what we're going to have this week on YSN in regards to football and tell you about when the power rankings are coming out right here on the network. Back after this, after a 2-minute break from our friends over at Toyota Warren.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions. WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
The feeling when my hands are on the piano, it's become comforting. It's somewhere that I can express myself. I go to Youngstown State University and my passion is playing music. YSU is allowing me to take what I love and turn it into a career and do it every single day of my life. I'm Alyssa and I'm YN proud.
My guy keeps it 100% of the time. He wants all 100, won't settle for 99. And it's more than stats, because there's people in those numbers. And I was one of the lost sheep. I'm so glad he cares for all 100. I'm 100% safe, 100% free, 100% love. I can be 100% me. He gave all 100 when they put him up on that tree. That's 100% passion for 100% free. So if I play in front of 100, or if I play in front of 2, there's an audience of 1 getting 100% of what I can do.
And thank you to the FCA, who you just saw the interview commercial for here on the YSN Power Hour, brought to you by Toyota of Warren. DJ Yoakley with you. If you are looking to push your business to the next level and like what we do here at YSN, well, let's get together. Let's hook it up. Head over to ysnlive.com/advertise. Send us an inquiry. I'll send you an email right back, and we'll get together, figure out a game plan. We have different situations, different packages for every budget. So if you're a small business that has never advertised before, that's okay. It's okay. We will help you through the process. We will make sure that we get something that meets your ROI expectations and gets you something back, even if it's just being able to be out there and supporting the communities, the coaches, and the kids the way that we do at YSN. Thank you. And of course, what we do, the way you should do business, is every single dollar that goes in, we put right back into our people and our processes and our potential here at YSN. So thank you for being a part if you are, and thank you for giving the consideration if you are indeed doing that as well. All right, before the break, teased, let's talk about the week ahead on YSN. So the shows, let's start off with that. We have these fall shows that we started last year. Steve Leslie, the brainchild behind these, and we have a ton of them this year. In fact, we have 6 of them right now as it stands. I'm doing 4 of them per week. Steve's doing 2 of them. And it all starts tonight from Double Bogeys and the Bunker in Boardman, the Boardman Spartans show. And tonight we're calling it the Sparty Party, coined by Donnie Riccatelli. I have to give credit where credit is due. And we have a ton of interviews that are going to be happening tonight, live from the Bunker and Double Bogeys. We have 10 coaches of fall sports for Boardman and 16 student athletes that are going to sit down with yours truly, and we're going to talk about how their impact is going to be heard across the world on your sports network this fall, only on ysnlive.com. Make sure you can tune in for that 7 p.m. tonight on YSN. So do not miss that. Excited for that. A lot of content in a short time frame. So make sure you do not miss that. Tomorrow night, Tuesday, I will be on Channel 21 WFMJ, as I alluded to earlier, for their football roundtable with Dana Bolish. Excited about that. Always have a great group of guys that we talk about football. We talk about the excitement that is to come for the next 10 to 16 weeks. And surely we'll elaborate a little bit more on Dana's predictions, hopefully, as we sit down and talk things that are football here in the Valley. On top of that, tomorrow night, right here on YSN, you got the South Range show that will be hosted this year at Giangelo's in Boardman. So we are going to have Dave Rock will be a part of that show, and I believe Brady Crumbacher will be the first guest on that show. Because I'm at 21 WFMJ, that means that I've got great people filling in for me. Chris Colucci will be interviewing Brady Crumbacher, and Chris Sigler will be taking on David Rock and sitting there and discussing with the new head coach of South Range his expectations going into a very tough week one opponent on the road at Springfield. And then when you move on to the Springfield Tigers, Steve Leslie will be hosting the Springfield Tigers football show, or Springfield Tigers show at the Tigers Table, presented by the Tigers Table, of course. And he will have Sean Guerrero on for week one, and I believe a couple of the captains. So excited that the Tigers Table back in the game here at YSN and hosting the Springfield Tigers show right there in New Middletown. You can be part of all these shows. Show up, patronize. Patronize. That's the right word. Yeah, that's the right word. Order off their menu, visit the restaurant, and enjoy the great food and great atmosphere that these shows bring to the table. That's through Tuesday. On Wednesday, Camel, you have your own home for local sports on YSN. It's the Camel Red Devil Show, brought to you by Tavern 26. Steve Leslie will interview the entire Camel staff, I'm sure, at some point this fall. Right there, thanks to Dan Dull for the support and sponsorship of the Camel Red Devils. And then yours truly, at least for the first part of the year, will be hosting with Coach Pavlansky the Canfield Cardinals show live from Coca's Pizza. Steve Coca, a huge supporter of YSN. Can't thank you enough. So we will have that show for you on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. And then Thursday, we have live from Sam's Wedge Inn, the Austintown Fitch show. TJ Parker and the whole crew, we're excited to have them once again on our airwaves and talk about what potentially I think could be a really good year for the Austintown Fitch Falcons. I really tough schedule as always, but I think this is a team that's already battled through adversity in this season, and it hasn't even started yet. And I think they've grown closer because of it. And I'm excited to sit down with Coach Parker and discuss kind of how his troops are prepared and ready as we head into the season on Friday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and of course, football night on Friday. Do not miss that, because for the fourth season, we are going to have the Audible Call with Mike Ackelson, brought to you by WRS Wealth Management. And I'll tell you what, Wealth Advisors, excuse me. And I think that Mike he's been excited in years past. But this year, Mike is over the moon excited because he wants a full-on audience here at Athletics where we're going to be streaming the shows from. So if you've ever wanted to be part of a YSN broadcast, these shows are a perfect opportunity for that, and none better than Friday right here in Athletics to come down and be part of the live stream of the Audible Call. Come in, help out, enjoy us, watch football, eat some food, and hang out with our staff here at Athletics every Friday night. That show starts at 7. You can come on in whenever you feel like it. The doors are open here at Athletics for YS Nation. So we got a full boat, an absolute full boat, and it all starts tonight. I am just over the moon excited for the potential of this season, and we are ready. Guys like Chris Sigler, guys like Steve Leslie, Quinn Pushkar, the entire Anthony Hartwig, the entire staff here. We are more prepared than we have ever been before. Brian Scott, can't leave him out. My goodness. We are more prepared than we've ever been. Does that mean that we're going to do everything right? Absolutely not. We're going to fail forward. We're going to push the envelope. We're going to make sure that we try to move the chains time and time again this season, but we're doing it for the right reasons, and we're doing it for you. And we're doing it in a big way. Because let me tell you, that this week one, I shouldn't even say that anymore. It's here, ladies and gentlemen. On Thursday, we got 4 games for you. 4 games right off of the rip. all at 7 o'clock. Howland at Niles. Noah is going to have you. Chris Sigler going to be joining him for that game. Matthews at Jackson. Milton Bob Zanni's got you covered at 7 o'clock for that game. We also have Steubenville at Ursuline. Tim Corso, the voice of the Ursuline Fighting Irish, and Julian Johnson, two former Irishmen, will be calling that game for you. They'll be the voice of the Irish all year long right here on the network. And then we have Grand Valley at Conneaut. Tyler Hartz and Chris Williams and Sam Torres will be on the call for that. So Thursday night, folks, you're not going to be shortchanged at all. You got 4 football games to tune into right here on YSN, all absolutely free, all brought to you by these great sponsors that you're seeing running through your screen right now, and we can't thank them enough. And again, I'm telling you, we have goals this season. We have big, lofty goals this season, and we're going to hit them. We have a goal of 8 million people viewing our website this season. And I think we're going to drill it. I really do. We got a lot going on, a lot of content to bring to you. We've got a lot of games, more games we've ever had before. 4 games on Thursday night alone, and that's just football. You've also got a soccer game and a scrappers game on top of that. Plenty of content. I'm going to count these up real quick. Let's see how many go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 3, 4, 24 games on Friday night. So total, we're going to have 29 games this weekend, football-wise. On Friday, we will have Austin Town Fitch at Euclid. Ty Bartell already. He's ready to go. He said, I'm in. Hands in the pile. Let's do this. On top of that, we will have Cardinal Mooney at Menor Lake Catholic. Loving it. Our guys are traveling to bring these games back to you. They are going the distance, as they say in Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. They are here. Go the distance. We're going the distance. Champion at Warren JFK, Dom O'Brien, the voice of the Eagles, will have that one covered for you. Cheney at Akron East. Yeah, we got that one too. Eric Hughes on the call. Tim Figley's going to have East Palestine at Newton Falls. Got to speak to Tim yesterday. He's jacked up for this season. East Lake North at Lakeside. Tyler Hartz and Sam Bryant will be on the call. Garfield Heights Trinity at Ashtabula Beulah St. John. Sam Torres will cover that one for you. Hubbard at East, Jamie Thompson and Zach Svesson. We're gonna get that, Zach. We're gonna get that. I almost called you Stevenson. You might end up as a Stevenson before it's all said and done. Jefferson at Girard. We got that one covered for you as well. Matt Marr and Jordan going to be covering that one for you. Jordan Barber. We also have CJ Bako, the Lakeview at LeBray game. We got that one for you as well on Friday. Larry and Mike, they're going to have Liberty at Edgewood for you, followed by Lisbon at Wyndham. We got that one taken care of for you as well. Louisville and Columbiana. Low key, this might be the game of the week. This might be one of the games that we look back at on Friday. Mike talks about, right? And we might say this was the game. And Joe Eusebio has the call for us, as always. The captain, the Clipper captain himself. We've got Minerva at East Liverpool. Gary's got that one for you. We've got Poland and Salem, Matt Mowry and Jared Niederheiser with their 7th season coming up here on YSN. Noah Doty and Steve Leslie will have South Range and Springfield. We got that one for you. They've got it other places, but you know where your home is for those 2 teams. Doug has Southern and McDonald. That could be another barn burner. I heard McDonald's going to be really good this year as well. They were young last year, and I think this year they could be making some waves. Southern, they haven't had a losing season since like, is it 2012 or I forget when it was. I mean, they've been something ridiculous that they've been. Coach Wright has been outstanding. St. Thomas, Aquinas, and Camel Memorial doing battle, and Nate and Quinn will be covering that one for you. Steubenville Central Catholic at Wellsville. We got Gary and Jason back on the mics for that. You got Struthers and Beaver Local. This could be a dogfight. You've got Mike McKenzie, who's going to take this game for us. Coming home, Mikey says, hey, I know I'm going to Waynesburg, but if it's all the same to you guys, I'd love to cover these games on Friday night. I've always got a mic, Mr. McKenzie. Valley Christian at Crestview. Tony Perazio, the former Crestview standout athlete, is going to be making his debut here on YSN in football. Calling this one, I think this is going to be an absolute war. Coach Hake, he's bringing his seasoned group. Lost some guys last year. John Terrell Mixon, among others. But Jay Sean Lindsay, remember that name. Remember Jay Sean Lindsay, because, again, all of this barring injury, barring any special circumstance, Jay Sean Lindsay is going to be one of the running backs that you are going to be amazed by this season. The running back for Valley Christian. Just watch. I promise you. Special human being right there. Then you look at Crestview. Don Perry taking over the reins. I really think that this team is going to be energized. Anytime, no matter if it's a good situation or a bad situation, anytime there's a new coach in place, that week one is electric. It's electric. And I think this is no different. Opening up in the Rebel Dome with Valley Christian coming to your house, I think it's going to be a great game. Two good games going on in Columbiana this week. You should be excited for both of them. Waterloo at United. Chris Sigler going to take this game. Again, another potentially good season for Coach Ogilvy and the Eagles coming up. Got a lot of size, a lot of strength, and they've got some skill positions. And don't forget, they've got a great kicker. That's going to make a ton of difference when you got a great kicker, especially in those lower divisions. Because when you're not putting points on the board and you can kick them from 30, 40 yards out and put 3, game changer. We'll also have Garrettsville Garfield at Cardinal and Louisville at New Philly. That's your rundown. And then on Saturday, this is still a TBD, but we have 4 volleyball games, a football game, and a soccer game as well, and a scrappers game. The football game is going to be Lexington Frederick versus Archbishop Hoban. Yours truly and Steve Leslie will have the call for you on that game. Excited for that. Guess where it is? Pro Football Hall of Fame. We are jazzed up for that, folks. Going to be a great, great week here on YSN. We got a lot of volleyball for you. We have already got more soccer, I think, than we had last year. Already. We've got great crews out there. We have potentially more content than we've ever had. And that's a lot. So far, we have over 9,100 pieces of content in our existence here at YSN. And that's just on the website. That's not social media. That's not YouTube. And a quick shout out while we're on the subject of social media. Right now, YSN on Facebook, over 22,000 followers. 22,000. That's insane. That's crazy. People thought I was nuts when I said I think people want local sports. I think people want us to talk about their kids. I guess I'm not crazy. I think it's crazy that there's 22,000 people on Facebook that's a big number. Not as big as 8.9 million, though. And that's how many people were on the website this past year so far. We're 8 months and 14 days into it, and I think we got a long road to hoe, especially with two of the biggest seasons potentially in our history coming up. So tomorrow, we're going to try to land some guests for you, talk to some of these folks that are going to make big impacts this year. And then we're going to talk more about the expectations. We got to some teams, but not even scratching the surface on some teams you want to hear about. The Warren JFKs, the Canfields, the Boardmans, Austintown Fitch. These teams that are perennial powerhouses, Crestviews, Columbianas. You look at Valley Christian. We'll have Coach Hake, without a doubt, on this show from time to time, hopefully weekly, to be on here and talk about his team. And then just right down the roster, volleyball, golf, all of it. I mean, everything. Tennis. We want to talk to you. If you want to talk to us, make it known. Send us a message. We'd love to have you on the show. Make it easy for us to book guests. Make it easy for us because we want to have you on the show. Reach out to us on social media. Email info, INFO, at ysnlive.com and get yourself a position on the show. Whether you're a coach, whether you're a player, we want to talk to you. And as long as you're YSN affiliated, we will happily make time for you to be on these shows and tell the world who you are and why you are the way you are and why you're great. It's time for the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our friends over at Joe Dickey Electric. Anything commercial, industrial, residential, anything that makes you go zap, you need to head on over to DickeyElectric.com. The Joe Dickey Electric Spark today, as always, brought to you by our friends at Joe Dickey Electric. All right. It's that time of year. It's that time of year, folks. It's construction season. And while I appreciate what is happening during construction, they're making things better. The near inconvenience is ridiculous sometimes. It's absolutely atrocious. Roads especially. I don't know that there's anything that bothers me as much as, drive-thrus. Drive-thrus bother me number one. But road construction is a close number two. And I think it's more along the lines of every time, and it's maybe just timing, but every time I drive past, nobody's doing anything. Nobody is, maybe there's one guy working and 7 guys watching. And I'm just thinking, just from an efficiency standpoint, I'm thinking in my head, like, wouldn't the job get done faster if the 7 guys that were watching were doing something? Now, maybe those 7 guys have a job that they're supposed to be spotting that person. I'm not in construction. I have no idea, and I don't claim to. I'm not even the handyman in my own house. It belongs to my lovely wife. But I was waiting for 12 minutes at a dude with a stop sign, and nothing was being done. They literally were standing around and chit-chatting, I guess is the best way to put it. There's another term we use, but I'll refrain because this is a family show. I don't get it. Don't understand it. If you can help me understand it, please let me know, because I've never worked in construction. I don't understand how that goes. As one guy's got a shovel and everybody else is making fun of him because he has the shovel. That's just an observation. That's going to do it for our show today. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you all. Appreciate all of our sponsors rolling through. And again, some big news coming out, ladies and gentlemen, not only probably later tonight, but tomorrow afternoon, right here, 3:00 on this show. I'm just going to throw, I'm not even being exaggerating. This is life-changing for me. This is exciting. You want to be a part of this, 3:00 right here, and we'll tell you all about it. That's going to do it. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 p.m. Incredible. Can't even wait. See you then. Bye. YSN thanks you